Hey guys, don't know how many of y'all are in here right now. Just came on and decided to hit it a little bit early and see who all was here. Uh, hey, Wicked Insanity. Hey, Steve. I was wondering who all was gonna come in. Thought I'd work on the diorama a little bit. I know, but hey, Brian. Lee was saying he wasn't going to be doing a stream today, so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and jump on for about an hour and work on the layout. So the diorama I was doing for tabletop gaming, kind of a little goof up thing that I was doing. Figured I'd show doing some sculptor mold and some plaster work and whatnot, and just kind of hang out and see what all was going on. Yeah, Mike, I understand getting cross-eyed doing models and doing buildings. What's you doing N scale or you do N scale, right, Mike? I could see that getting cross-eyed doing that. Uh, yeah, N scale will make you blind, definitely, Mike. Now, making up sculptor mold, I don't mix it to any kind of ratio. I just kind of look at it and what looks good is what I end up going with. Oops, I need one other stir stick. Digger, how you doing, buddy? I'm glad to see you made it in. And Dragon Lover 68, good you make it. Glad you can make it in. Uh, see, I like, yeah, consistency on that sculptor mold is good. One thing I love about sculptor mold is you can't go wrong on it, and it makes a great consistency for ground to where you really don't have to smooth it out too much, and it helps seal in foam so you can paint with a rattle can over it and not worry about melting the foam. uh, Hey, Lee. I see you made it in. Right now, I'm just trying to make the embankment for the where it looks like they piled the. This will all get covered in snow because this is going to be part of a snowboard that I'm doing for tabletop miniatures. And what I'm doing is putting a wrecked tank on it and then having where the guys have kind of built up an area to keep themselves safe while they wait on reinforcements to come help them out. So just kind of slapping the sculpting mold in and moving it around where I need it. Pretty much just like doing a regular layout. So, of course, as it dries, I'll end up smoothing it out a little bit more. But I'm also going to be using Woodland Scenics snow texture on top of it. Dang, throat's all messed up today. Also going to be mixing in some Games Workshop miniature models in here too. I've got some terrain pieces that I'm going to be adding to it. That's why I've got the black marked out here, and then everywhere I've got the sculpt mold sitting is also a spot that I'm going to be adding pieces to. That's going to be where the tank sits. Look like it got blown up, and they're still, the guys survived the explosion, but they're kind of sitting waiting on help to come through. Yeah, I never actually set a time for it, Digger. So I wouldn't doubt if it did all kinds of funny things with it. Actually, where is it? There it is. The other thing I like about Sculpt-A-Mold is you can move it around real well, and it you can do all kinds of fun stuff with it. Oh, thanks, Lee. This thing will go together real easy. Of course, the other thing I was going to bring up today on Lee's live stream was in about 2 months, I think. I got to call Monday and find out the exact date, but I'm going to be building a shed. So New Fenris Railroad will finally be a true railroad, and I'll be doing a layout and in a shed, so it'll be a lot better. I was reading Wicked Insanity's comment. Stuff's starting to set up now. So one thing I like about sculpted molds is it'll set up pretty quickly, and once it does, you can start smoothing it out and using your finger. So the only thing about sculpted mold is it's a messy work, but I enjoy it. Hey John, I see you snuck in here on me. I'm just kind of working the stuff around a little bit. Put the tank in, make sure it sits where I need it to. Yeah, door will open up good. All right. If y'all have any questions or comments on what I'm doing, just let me know and I'll see if I can get to them. A lot of this is stuff that pretty much everybody does on trains. I just do a little different consistency on some of it, just because I've gotten used to doing this as for modeling purposes and not train purposes, but kind of works out the same in the of course reading the chat at the same time doesn't help. All right. Hey, I got mine done probably about 2 weeks after I got all my W-2s in. I think my wife said we actually have our money back from taxes now. We had it direct deposited. All right. Uh, Plus, the other thing, yesterday I had a fun time going to a first train show I've caught in like 2 years now. Was in was in Hickory. Yeah, Mike, Social Security doesn't. Yeah, you don't have to file taxes. Actually, it was real good. I didn't think to take my camera with me to video it. It was kind of small, but um, it was really nice. I ended up finding a bunch of N scale Chicago Northwestern stock cars, so I now have enough stock cars for the layout when I get it. Found another 4 lifelike cars, so I'll end up being able to do a pretty good run of stock cars on the layout. And then also, I'll have to remember to get a hold of Steve Arnold and let him know that when I get the trucks replaced on it, I've got a couple sets of N-scale KD couplers I'm going to send to him because I won't ever use them. I don't care for KD. I'd rather use the micro trains because I'm not going to be doing any kind of switching. So there's no point for me to have the bigger couplers. I can always use the smaller couplers for the from the micro trains to do it. All right. Pull that out for now. That doesn't need to be in there. I just smacked the camera. Sorry about that, guys. Of course, the other thing is I don't do any kind of measuring with anything. I just pour water in, get the consistency I want. Fixing to do the plaster now. to try and seal in those cracks between the rocks. A lot of my terrain work goes back to gaming. It's really where I got started with it. And it's hasn't really changed much. It actually worked out well. There it is. What I always go for when I'm trying to do stuff is make it almost a consistency of lightly little little over melted ice cream, almost like a thick pudding, and that way it'll fill in the cracks and everything, and it doesn't take too long to dry either. But I use the gypsum powder I use is a 5-minute set anyhow, so it sets up really quickly sometimes, and then I can go in and scrape it out and tease it where I need it to. Brian, the shed I'm going to be doing for the layout's 12 foot wide by 16 foot long, and it's going to be it's got 6-foot walls with a 10-foot high gabled ceiling, so it's a pretty good size. And I'm going to be I'll have a shelf layout done at 24 inches on one wall, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to take it all the way around, because I will have a gaming table in the center, so I'm going to need room to get around on either side. But I think once I get in there and get it set up and built, I'll see what I can do. Because I want to make it accessible for the kids if they have to have their crutches or whatever. They're having bad mobility days and that, so I want to have room where we can get around. So I might have to make up some more plaster. I didn't quite put enough in the cup this time. Of course, this is like icing a cake. And I'll end up coming back in with some other stuff later on top of this and adding more rigidity to it. Part of one of the reasons why I wanted to do this diorama is I plan on working on some different things that I haven't done in a while from the past, and I can't remember how to do them, so I thought I'd do it on a small scale before tackling a layout, and just doing some consistency work and seeing how it works out. But of course, I also need to apologize to you guys. I haven't done much on my channel, and I've been kind of busy doing other things and just not really doing much modeling or any kind of train work. So I hadn't really had any videos to put up. Hopefully that'll be changing. I'll have a whole lot of content coming ahead once I get this shed. So I think there'll be a whole lot more that I'll be doing. There it is. Yeah, Brian, I thought about that. I thought about doing 18-inch. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get set up with it first, and then see what I need to get by. I probably will end up doing smaller shelves. A lot of it depends on how much I can get on the shelf. Because part of it is I'm going to end up with probably 3 to 4 separate lines, or train tracks going through everything. So it'll be a little interesting to see. It's like a terribly frosted cake. Yeah, Brian, I know. Yeah, you and I could definitely tell each other what not to do scenarios. I'm thinking about I may end up having to do. The biggest thing is I'm worried about when I get to the end and turning the tracks around and come back the other way. I'm just not sure. I know I need at least an 18-inch radius corners to run one of the locomotives that I'm running. I'm going to need 16 for some, 18 for others. So it's I'm kind of leery about how much of a dog bone I'm going to have on one end of the layout to bring the trains back around, and if it's going to interfere with anything else. But hopefully it won't. All right. Uh, okay. Well, that's good. 24 inches. That won't be too bad then. Um, the only thing is the 484 I know um is what I've been having the problems with on anything under an 18-inch radius. Um, and yeah, Brian, it will definitely be climate controlled. I've got two portable air conditioner heaters that will be going in there, and I'll be running electrical and everything else with it. So I'll see how well it holds up, and then I'll be basically it's going to be a tiny home when I get done with it. It'll be a whole lot. Um, actually, they do have. I've seen a couple. They've got Brian. They've got a couple of the double track. There's one that's got a. It's a 50. It's a 15, 15 and 19. Um, but I think the what I'm gonna end up doing with the track is I'll probably use my straight track with Kato that I have, and then the corners, if I need to, I will use flex track for most of my corners because I've got plenty of flex track, and I plan on actually doing a little bit of both. I'll do flex track and Kato, because I've got some Kato stuff that I'm using that's going to be more for the yards, more for my industrial areas than just the overall running of the train going around the layout. So right now I'm trying to work on the back side here a little bit. I got one more spot of foam to cover up. And then this will be pretty much done as far as that. Like I said, I'm kind of mixing the sculptal mold and the plaster in on it. Because I didn't want to use a whole lot of sculptal mold on it. Even though I have what a 5 gallon bucket of sculptal mold right now. I think I ordered either a 25 or 50 pound bag. Almost pulled a Simon Saucy from was it Back on Track? I ordered it with the intent of not really knowing how much I would need, and going from there. Okay, Brian, cool. So you're saying do a 26 inch. So I only need 26 inches to make a turnaround, and that's with 2 tracks. All right, that works. That'll definitely help. Like I said, the layout's going to be, I'm going to have the shelf for the trains, and then I'll have a peninsula that comes off of it. That's the gaming table that's 4x8, which is basically the layout that I originally had, and then I'll have tracks that run through there too. And some of that stuff will be N scale, some of it will be 25 millimeter, which is right between O and S gauge. So the buildings will look a little confusing as the train goes through, but it works out pretty well. All right. And now all I got to do is let that dry. I'm going to move this out of the way. And then I got some other stuff I was going to work on. I got some modeling that I was going to do, and some doing some green stuff epoxy, and setting up some stuff for that. Probably go back to that next week. Thanks, Dragon Lover. I'm glad y'all like it. Alright, where is, there it is. Now from other fun stuff. Going to, I'm not going to use that one. Reason why I'm pouring the water in a cup is you use water on the green stuff when you're mixing it to help keep it from getting overly sticky. Basically, it's a two-part epoxy. You mix equal amounts of each, and then it turns green. And kind of go from there. Where's the plastic edge? There it is. Yep, that blade's no good anymore. Nice. Well, that came off good. Hey, Dwight's in here. Cool. I didn't even see Dwight come in. I didn't see Mystic. Say hey to you guys and Jennifer. Where did I find what? The green stuff? Kind of took my eye off of the chat for a little bit there. Hey, Lee. Yeah, the epoxy, Jennifer. I ordered it from a company called Green Stuff World. They're out of Europe. I want to say they're out of Germany. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for them to ship, but you can find it online. Here, actually, I'll put the name of it in the chat. Yeah. All right, Mystic. I'm on a list for the green stuff. Yeah, it's. Hang on. Let me. There's the web address. It's greenstuffworld.com, and they've got all kinds of stuff for um, modeling and miniature making. They also do. You can get texture rollers, and they've got rollers set up for N scale, but it's European N scale, so it's 148, and they've also got HO, and then getting into the 25 millimeter stuff is um, going into the O and O gauge in that, so it's not O and G gauge. So they usually don't bother marking them for railroad use at that point. I forgot to wet it before I started rolling it. Mystic, I do some D&D, but then I mostly do Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Age of Sigmar from Games Workshop. I started doing Age of Sigmar with this latest edition. I've got a couple armies that I'm doing that I got started on with a friend, and he was going to show me how to play, and well, of course, pandemic, and that kind of changed that real quick. So we didn't get a chance to get together and do it. But I think he's already got his vaccine, so he doesn't live that far from me. When I get the shed, we can always go out there and hang out and do it. Right now, I'm doing texture roller, and it does a wolf pelt It looks like that. Yeah, Jennifer, I've bought different different brands of putty over the years. I actually like the Green Stuff World putty over some of the other putties I've used. I just where did I put the? Let's see, how many grams was that? Yeah, it was 100 grams that I ended up getting, and it's just I find I use it. Um, it works a lot better for what I do. Now is that the Tamiya epoxy putty? Is that the tube stuff, like the almost like the contour or the gap filler and stuff like that? Um, 'Cause I haven't used any kind of model stuff in so long. Um, UFO, are you asking what I'm using the wolf pelt for? It's just gonna be like a carpet. I'm just gonna have it hanging from a banner that I'm gonna use on the terrain. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave that closed up. This is the first putty I've bought in probably 8 years. I just used my last of the other stuff earlier in the year when I was doing some terrain. Hey, Randall. Good to see you made it in. Uh, I see we had both Dwights in here. I got Dwight Curley, and I know I saw um, Dwight Outdoors earlier. Glad y'all could make it. I'm probably only going to be on for about another 10 minutes or so. I was doing a quick one. I got a lot of stuff I got to get into here at the house. We're working on getting some construction done, getting a new porch built and all. And we're working on cleaning out a sunroom that's out there so they could start doing the construction. So, uh, Yeah, the layout. I did some older stuff, but I had I kind of put the layout on hold. Um, I've been doing a lot of modeling work and stuff, doing plastic miniatures and whatnot. So I haven't really been doing a whole lot with the layout. Um, so I've been kind of steering clear of, and I'm terrible about doing videos. I got a habit of forgetting to actually even bother running the video when I go to do things, and I'll get about 3/4 of the way through and realize, oh, I never turned the video on to show anyone what I'm doing. Um, yeah, I got a fingerprint in there. So yeah, I'm kind of bad about that. Yeah, and usually when I remember that I didn't do a video is as I'm putting the final touches on it, and my camera usually sits in front of me over here. Today I decided to put it over beside me so it's a little bit lower than where I normally keep it. I figured maybe people would be able to see better that way instead of how I normally do it on Lee's stream. Yeah. The other thing I like about green stuff is it takes about 2 to 24 hours to really dry. So you got plenty of working time with it. So if I don't like the way it came out, I can always pop it off, start putting it back together, and then working it back out. Yeah, yeah, definitely get wrapped up in the moment, UFO. A lot of times I'll sit down and I'll even I'll even turn the computer on and have the computer on and be sitting there going, yeah, I want to go ahead and put the camera on, and I'll check all my settings and have all my settings all ready to go, and I'll still totally forget to hit the start button. I'll forget to hit the record button, and then I'll get about 3/4 of the way through and be like, oh, I should have done this. And I was like, well, I can always go back and edit it in when I redo another one. It's kind of like doing the trees. Um, I started on the smaller trees, but then again, when I was doing the bigger trees, I looked at it and was like, well, I've shown how I do trees, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I kind of did trees a little different than most people do. um, Most people will put blue tack on the armatures and then stick their ground foam or the fine leaf foliage from woodland scenics or stuff like that, I usually get a real thick gelled super glue and put it on the armatures and just start sticking my stuff down that way. All right. Well, I'm thinking about it. Mark the back side of this with a T, so I know which way is the top, because I want to roll this. Oh, this is not good. I just got the whole thing of green stuff stuck to the roller. Hey, Heath. Did anybody see Heath come into my stream? Because I'm fully blaming Heath for this one. This is a blame Heath. Yep, this is definitely a blame Heath moment. I forgot to put water on everything, and I just completely glued down that stuff. This epoxy is not going to be coming off anytime soon good. This is not going to come off well. Hey, Steve87. Ah, you were on vacation. Where'd you go? Someplace fun and quiet, or did you just hang out near the house? I may have lost this roller. Oh well. There we go. Well, guys, I've been on for an hour. I need to run. Thanks for joining me today. And I will see you, as Lee says, in the roundhouse, and I will see you around on the streams. I will catch y'all later, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off and figure some way of cleaning this. UFO, I will try that powder. I've also got some alcohol, some rubbing alcohol that I'll use on it too. All right, bye everyone.